Hey everyone, this is Mike,
Hey, and this is Josh.
and this is Must See Before You Die.
That's right.
And
And
Josh, Ray, what are we here tonight for?
hey, we are going to review Last of Us episode 8 when we are in need. And for me, Mike, this is probably one of the best episodes of the season, in my opinion. I mean, this was really good. The emotional and just the connection between Joel and Ellie like grows even stronger by the end of this episode. I mean, they both have a connection like their family at this point. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
Yep. They went from a couple episodes ago, they were getting ready, he was getting ready to Joel's going to kick her to the curb to now they're like father daughter.
Well, it's because you know, he
They've
cares
been through a
about
lot
her.
together.
No, but he
Yeah,
cares
they've
about
been through
her.
a lot together.
Right, and he's starting to show more now that he cares about her like it's his daughter. And he did before, but he just put a wall up. He didn't want to show it. You know what I mean? That's why he wanted to leave, because he didn't want to get hurt again like he did with his daughter in the first one a couple episodes ago. But I like this episode. I love the snow, the area it takes place. There's beautiful mountains, and like there it takes place in like a resort town. Like must have been for like skiing or something, is what I imagine. A ski town, like a ski resort. Um, but turns out that she goes out. Joel's still real sick from his wound from the last episode. She goes out hunting, trying to help for food. She does end up shooting a deer. She tries to get a white rabbit earlier, but it runs away. She runs after it and falls on her face with a gun. I have done that while rabbit hunting. I fell on my face and my gun went flying. That happened to me once when I was younger, about 14. But yeah, and then she ends up shooting this deer, and then these two other guys come upon it, and you don't really know nothing about these guys. And she's like, got him, and she said, if you guys move or whatever, I'm gonna put the bullet right between your eyes. And I believe her. I mean, because she shot this deer from a good distance away. I feel like so. And they have a communication. They need half the deer because their people are hungry. Yeah, so you meet these people actually earlier in the episode, and they're kind of like a religious outfit. And there's not a lot of them. I mean, maybe like what, 25 of them, Mike, something like that.
There's 25 of them, and a girl's crying in it, and she's like, and one guy's a preacher. I think his name's David, right?
Yeah.
But he goes, he's bringing up scripture from the Bible to her and to all of them, and then she's really upset, and he talks to her something that she goes, well, when are we going to bury my father? And he's like, hey, the ground's frozen, we can't do it till the spring.
Right.
And that kind of sets it up, that part of it, and then you got Ellie and Joel in this other part going on.
Right. So then you come to the part where the deer thing, and they come to an agreement where David and his people have medicine for Ellie. Ellie asked for it, and she would give them half the deer. And so, but as the guy went to, David says their camp's 4 miles away from this area. So they have to send this other guy named James, guy who plays James in this episode is actually the guy that voices Joel in the video game. So some of the points where I heard this character James talk, I'm like, whoa, because it's like the voice of Joel. So it's weird in the game. But yeah, so they get to talking, and the guy basically says, I'm a preacher, but I wasn't always a preacher. I started believing in the Bible after the apocalypse. And I know why he did. It comes out later, the reason why he got into the Bible later. And he was a teacher before. And I love when Ellie said, wait, you were a teacher and became a preacher. Why? Because they rhyme? I was laughing. But he just comes off as a real likable, nice guy, trying to do everything for them, saying that, you can be part of the community, blah, blah, blah. And I did like the part where she's like, oh, so I can be part of your starving community? All right, thanks. Did you like that, Mike?
Yeah, because they were out hunting themselves. They knew they were low on food, and they were rationing food out, and they started, they said they're going to take a team of 4, 3 or 4 guys out, or a team of them out. And that's what David and the other guy, that they were out hunting. That's the reason they, they found I guess they heard a gunshot. You'd have to, but then they saw the deer laying out in the middle of nowhere, and they went up to approach it, and they was going to take it. And then that's when she's like pointed a gun at him and says, you do it, I'm going to pull the trigger and shoot you between the eyes.
Okay. Yeah. And he says, I believe everything happens for a reason. And she's like, bullshit. I mean, she was calling him on every single thing. She's like, wait, the end of the world happened and you started believing in this like Bible stuff? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, it's like the opposite. So that's what she said. And but I liked their banter back and forth in that scene, Mike. I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
And he was really trying to get her to put her wall down, man, to trust him. He was trying so hard. And we'll find out more about that later. But turns out James, he tells Ellie, like, those guys you attacked in the last episode, that you killed the guy, like, his family's in our camp, and we want you basically, like,
he was telling her everything happens for a reason, and he started laying the story out for her. And he's like, we send some people into town to look for something, and 2 people attacked them, and one killed killed our guy, and one was wounded on the other one. So then, while they're saying this, in the whole story, okay, this is Ellie and Joel. These are the 3 or 4 guys that came, and that's, then you put the 2 and 2 together, that the girl that was at the very beginning saying, when we're going to bury my dad, that's her dad that they killed.
Well, these people want blood. They don't care. They want like justice. And in their eyes, Joel is an evil man, even though
they only know what they've been told.
Even though Joel was attacked.
Yeah, they attacked them, but those people there don't know that. They're just like, they think they're awful people.
Right. And so there's that. And so they're liars in this community as well. So then you switch, and Ellie runs back. She gets the penicillin. She runs back. She don't know where to inject the penicillin. So she literally injects it right into Joel's. I mean, where would you do it?
My wife's a nurse, and she said it should have went in his ass.
Okay. Well, it seemed to work.
These 13, 14-year-old, I wouldn't know where to put it at either.
Right. Well, it seemed to work some, Mike. She did 2 doses. It did seem to do something. It helped him. Definitely it helped him. I mean, Joel was like basically not moving and had his eyes closed. I mean, the guy was like on death's doorstep with an infection. So these guys go back and they show the deer, David and James. And James must have ran his freaking mouth to people because they're all pissed off that they gave these people that killed the guy medicine. You know what I mean? So, like, these people are mad, aren't they, when they go back there with this deer? They should be happy they got a deer. But like, when they're eating and stuff, you can tell, like, some people are giving side eyes and stuff about the food. You notice that? Like,
some people that, and then they kind of don't believe what David's saying either. You can tell there's some that probably believe him, but most of them don't. They're like, hey, this guy's full of it.
Well, an important part is the little girl said, we need to kill both of them. David gets ticked, walks over to this little girl who's probably like 12 years old or 13, probably like the same age as Ellie, really.
Yeah.
And he goes over and takes his gloves and just smacks the crap out of her in the face. And then and then he puts his hand out and grabs it, and he goes, "Your father's not dead, but you." Or she said, he said something like, "Your father's dead, but you'll always have a dad, and you need to listen to him." Basically saying, like, I'm your new dad. Like that was, and the mother just stood there and didn't say a word. And she went and got him a plate of food that was bigger than everybody else's portions. Did you notice that?
Yep.
His plate of food was huge, and everybody else got like little tiny bits and bowls. Did you notice that, Mike?
Yeah, that's how the real world works, Josh. If you're a top dog, you eat the most food, Everybody else has to eat the crumbs.
Yeah, that is it. That is what happened in this. So now you're starting to learn, like, maybe this David guy isn't as nice as he made himself out to be, And he also told Ellie, like, I didn't want to be the leader. They picked me. I don't believe that at all. I don't believe that for 1 second.
No, he manipulated that.
Yeah, he manipulated and he used religion to do that.
Yeah.
Because the guy doesn't believe in any of it. I mean, he tells Ellie that later. So we'll get to that. So he says, okay, I'm going to get a group of guys out and we're going to track them and we're going to go get them. He goes, you guys want blood? We're going to get him. So we'll go out and get him. So they do track. Ellie is out. She's cuddling next to Joel. She gives him another shot of antibiotic. And she's outside giving the horse, because the horse is in the garage like a car. I think that's funny. And she's giving it some snow. And all of a sudden she sees some birds and stuff. And she's like, what the crap? So she runs over there hiding. And she sees there's like a group of probably, 6 guys with him, with David. So she runs back. She's smart. She runs back, gives Joel a hunting knife and says, there's guys out here. I'm going to try to lead them away. But if they come, kill them. Like, don't let them get you. Also, she put a big thing in front of the door, which I thought that was a great idea. Like a carry cabinet in front of the door to help maybe cover it. And so she gets on the horse, and these group of guys are in the road, and she's like, hey, dudes, blah, blah, blah. And then she just starts capping off and takes off, and they're like, oh, and they start. And David's like, I want her alive. He said, if you do not kill her, I want her alive. But one of his guys, James, was like, well, maybe it's God's will if we kill her. And David looked at him like, you better not. No, it ain't no God's will, basically. You know what I mean? So, and so you're like, wait, why does David want her so bad? Like, he doesn't want her dead. So you don't really know. So she takes off. James gets in position, shoots the horse. Ellie goes flying off this horse. The guys end up grabbing her. And James getting ready to shoot her. And one of the other guys is like, do it now. And then David like shoots his gun. And he's like, nope, she's mine or whatever. Takes her. And then he says 2 of these other guys drag the horse back because, they can eat the horse. And then he says, the rest of you guys, if you want blood, go house to house and get it. Get your blood. So one of the guys does make his way in the house, goes downstairs, goes and sees the cushion or the bedding on the ground. Joel pops out, just stabs this guy, man, right in the back of the neck. Joel watches this man, like stares at this guy in the eyes, dying. He's dead. Then Joel gets out and gets these 2 guys that are hunting down. He beats one up outside, and then the other guy comes up and he's like, Timothy. And Joel just comes and just whacks him with a gun butt, man. I mean, in the head. He puts these 2 guys in a house. He's interrogating the one guy. He takes that knife and stabs it in a guy's leg and turns it. And the guy talked, of course. And Joel, this is in the game too, Mike. But he has a guy point out on the map where they're keeping Ellie. And then he goes, and your buddy better tell me the same thing as you. And the guy goes, okay. And then Joel just kills that guy sitting in the chair that told him. And then he goes over and he goes, I'm not speaking. And he goes, that's okay. Your buddy told me where it was. Boom! And just kills the guy.
He beats him with a big pipe.
Yeah. Because he knew that guy wasn't lying. So that's why he did that. And it was like a tactic. Like, if I tell you I'm going to get it out of your buddy, then it better be the same or you're both dead. Well, it didn't matter. He killed them both. But they have Ellie in this cage. And it's like weird that they would have that cage in there. And they must have kept other people in there. That's the only thing I can think, Mike. So they had this cage like in the kitchen part. That's probably where they kept people when they were going to chop them up. Yeah. Ellie realized, so David brings her food, but then she sees like ears and shit on the ground. And so she's like, I'm not eating that. Your monsters are eating people. She takes the food and he's like, do you think I want to eat people? He's like, but I can't let my people starve. Blah, blah, blah. And this is where it gets real creepy real fast in this cage scene. He's like, we can be something together. He goes, me and you are the same. We both have an evil heart. And he goes, and he goes, do you know what I believe in? And she's like, yeah, the Bible stuff. And he's like, no. He's like, I believe in the cordyceps. He's like, they fight, they survive, they multiply. He goes, that they can use violence if they have to survive. He goes, that's real life or something. He's like, these other people need need all that other stuff that I tell them to stay strong. I don't need that. That's basically what he said.
Right.
And so basically he doesn't believe in any of what he was preaching. He was just doing that to have control, I think, over these people or some kind of manipulation or whatever. And then he like puts his hand in the cage and she like grabs it and and then he's like, we can be something really good together, blah, blah, blah. Basically wanting to be with Ellie, like in a relationship.
Yeah.
And like wanting her to be with him and help run this place.
Yep.
And she grabs his finger and breaks it, dude. How do you like that?
She puts her hand on top of his at first and you're thinking, yeah, she's getting ready to do something to him. And she takes that finger and breaks it.
I love that, Mike.
And he starts calling her some pretty dirty words. He called her the C word. And
yeah, he called her a see you next Tuesday. Yeah.
Yep.
And then he was like, yep, you're going to get chopped up now. And then him and James come back and they put her on the chopping block table where they cut people up. And she's like, I'm infected. And they look at it. And then James is like, no way. She can't be infected. And then David's like, look at it. It looks pretty bad. But then she grabs that cleaver that David slammed down and nailed James right in the neck with it.
Yeah,
dude.
that's pretty sick.
You ain't gonna. Yeah, you're dead.
He's up against the wall and just blood's just gushing out.
Yep. And she runs and grabs like a stick that's on fire, like in a burner, like a cooker or something. And David runs after her with that cleaver. He just takes that cleaver out of his friend's neck and doesn't even blink, does he? Nope. He didn't give a shit about that guy. He didn't care. This guy is horrible. And then he's chasing Ellie around. She throws that stick at him. This whole place, this restaurant, lights on fire, man. And I mean on fire fast, Mike, don't it?
Yep.
And so Joel's like searching around for her. He's in this area now. He comes in this one room and he finds her backpack. And then he's looking around and he sees bodies hanging up like you would, like cow carcasses or whatever. The heads and the arms are gone. Like, you know what I mean? And it's pretty sick. And Joel's like, oh boy, I got to go find her now. So he runs and he's running all over the place trying to find her. The final showdown is awesome to me. David's walking around just telling her stuff. Ellie, who's smart, runs to the kitchen, gets a knife. I mean, that's smart. And David's like, you could have been with me. I could have treated you really good. You don't know what I could have gave you in life. Blah, blah, blah. Like, what are you saying, dude? Like, seriously? Like, you're nuts. Yeah, you're not. And he was like, now I changed my mind. He's like, you're going to be with me. He goes, we're not going to die today. You're going to be with me. And I'm going to show you something. And then they end up getting to a fight. Ellie does knife him in the side. But then he gets on top of her and she's like struggling and screaming and yelling. And he goes, oh, I thought you knew. My favorite part is when you're yelling and struggling. And I was like, dude. And she grabs that cleaver, boom, then gets on top of him and just wails on him. Like,
she probably hits him 50, 60 times. I mean, it's just blood splattering everywhere.
Well, she was in a shock and a rage.
Yeah, she was just in shock and she was just like constantly, butchering him up. I mean, it was pretty crazy.
Well, and the first couple swings, you hear him go, oh. Then like the next 30, you just hear squish, 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 like he's just a pulp.
Yeah.
And then she runs out of there and Joel grabs her and he's like, da-da, and then she's just like in shock. And then he says the words that really communicate how he feels about her. He says, I got you, baby girl. And he hasn't said that since he was with his daughter.
Yeah, when he said that, it gave me cold chills. Me and Michelle was like, that's what he called his daughter, his baby girl.
That's right. So that's the thing letting you know how he feels about her. You know what I mean?
Bond. Like a father and a daughter right there.
Yes, and the bond that like you said, that was a pretty powerful moment in the show, Mike. Honestly, it was. I thought Ellie, the girl who plays Ellie, did a really good job of acting in this episode. I mean, she really did really well with the actor that played David and stuff like that. I thought she did good. I really liked this episode, Mike. I ranked this pretty high, in my opinion. I liked it a lot.
I liked it. It was in my top 3 probably so far out of 8. I put it in my top 3.
Yes.
It was a lot of action. It was a little. It was a lot of drama, but it was a build up. And then there
Yes.
was a lot of action at the end of it. So I really liked it.
Yeah, me too. I cannot wait for next week's season final, Mike.
After the season finale, the following week or something, we need to rank our top 9 episodes.
Yep, we will.
We rank them from 1 to 9 on what we thought our favorites were.
Yep, we'll do that. Also,
Cool.
I can't wait for the season finale, Mike. This is going to be epic, Mike.
Yeah, I can't wait. I didn't play the video game, so I have no clue what's going to happen. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Okay,
all right,
guys.
Josh, great evening, man. Good job recapping it. And, hey, what do y'all think? If you've seen it before, let us know in the comments here. Must see before you die. Also, join our horror community on Facebook where we do a lot of movies and just all kinds of horror collectibles, genre type stuff. But we love talking about scary movies. Y'all have a good one.
See you guys. Bye.